Hi everyone, Nigel Saunders here. It has been a month and a half since I hard pruned my Portulacaria afra forest down, reducing it from a big forest down to stumps. Let's go back in time now and I'll show you what it looked like before the hard pruning and what it looked like after the pruning, and this is it today. I've been letting these trees grow long and bushy all summer to thicken up the trunks to get that baobab look to them. And today I'm going to prune them back. Everything has been reduced to stumps. And I'm keeping in mind my long-term goal to make these trees look like baobab trees. So I've got to do this. I've got to reduce them to stumps every, like I said, every 5 years or so. Regrow all the branches in, and then they slowly get larger and larger, more vigor, then I prune them back again. And repetition of this cycle will give me that look I want over many years. So I think once all the foliage starts growing in on all these trees, they'll look quite good again. I'll place it in full sun now, and I'll just let everything grow in. Again, keeping it out of the rain. I can see in the large tree here, kind of a baobab forming merging. It's not an easy thing to do, hard pruning these trees down, especially when they're, quite developed up top. However, I'm really glad I did. I'm pleased with the results. I'm pleased with the recovery of the trees. And I think it's going to look even better in the future. It'll look more like my goal, which is to style them to look like the giant African Baobab trees. I'm going to be doing the first pruning of these trees since I cut them back hard, just to shape them up. Some of the shoots are getting quite long on them. I'm also going to be doing some experiments about the trunks. Scarring up the trunks and having them heal over, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Here's a look at my jade tree, and if you notice on the trunk there's rings. There's rings, horizontal rings that go up like little segments on the trunk. And to get that look of a baobab tree, I don't want these growth rings going up the trunk like that. And you'll see it even on old jade trees. Here's a look at my old jade cutting, and you can see even on the oldest parts of the tree, which are probably 60 years old, you can still see the rings going up the trunk. Even more so on the younger branches up here. But yeah, even on really old jades, you can still see those segments, and it doesn't look much like an African baobab. On this jade cutting here, towards the back, I took off a major branch and I smoothed out the scar with my fingernail, making it flush with the trunk, and I'll show you how it healed over. Here's a look at the tree from the side view, and you can see the scar towards the back here and how smooth it is. There's a growth ring that goes right through here, but on the scarred section there's no growth rings at all. So I was thinking, well, what if I scarred up the trunk to remove those growth rings so it heals over and I get a nice smooth trunk on it, rather than having all those growth rings going up the trunk, making, segments. This forest was started from cuttings. This is the original cutting, the largest tree in the forest. And when I first started this forest, the largest tree was about this size. So it's grown a lot in the last 25 years. But even though it's, over 25 years old, it still has the distinct rings going up the trunk here. My Portulacaria afra is styled to look like a baobab tree, but these rings up here don't suit the baobab style. So I may try and correct those. What happens to the full-size trees in Africa is elephants. When they get thirsty in a severe drought, they'll come up and they'll run their tusks up the trunk of the tree and break it open, and then they'll drink the liquid. These trees store tremendous amounts of water, the African baobab, inside the trunk, because they are succulent. So it leaves all these vertical scars up the trunk at the base of the tree. And I can show you some pictures of that. in those photos, you can see the vertical kind of gashes at the base of the baobab trees. They do heal over. It doesn't hurt the tree. It continues to grow. Just like these jades, if you scar the trunk up, it heals over and continues to grow. It's not like the bark on a regular tree. These act a little differently. My eventual goal is to get these Portulacaria afra trees to look like the giant African baobab. So I will have to do some work to try and get rid of those ridges on the trunk, those segments. So I'll do a little experimenting today on it just to try it out, and we'll see how the experiment goes, see the results of it, and maybe I'll try it at the back of the tree. And if it works really nicely, maybe I can apply it to the front of the tree then. I'm going to start today by pruning up all the trees in the forest, pruning back the long shoots to make them more compact, get some sub-branching off them to fill in the canopies, and get a nice shape to the trees. I'll put the forest on top of my spinning tree bonsai turntable. So here I go. I'm looking at the front of the tree, so you're kind of getting more of a side view. So I'm going to begin with these branches here, pruning them back. They're getting very long. They've extended quite far in the last month and a half. So I've got some sub-branching already here, so I'll just take the tip off there. Keep my 2 branches that are coming each side of that branch. And I better try a leaf out. Quite good tasting. So this branch, I have the same. I have some sub-branching here already, so I'll take it off to here, like that. I'll prune this branch off shorter to there. This one off shorter to here. And I'll just take the very tip off this one, just to promote more branching on the main branches here. So that's got that branch kind of covered now. There's one coming out the front here. I'm just going to take the tip off it like that. And I will take this one large leaf off here. There's another branch coming out at the base of that leaf, so just take that off. So that is one branch coming off this big trunk line here. The other one is back here, and I've got a branch here, a branch coming to the inside, which I don't want, so I'm going to prune that one away right here. So that's gone. I want my branches fanning out nicely, and then I think I'm going to take it off right here. So it was growing up into these other branches here. That helps make this branch more compact. Now I will probably develop this as my main branch leader coming out front here. So this may get pruned away eventually, but this has to grow first. So that leaves me onto this branch here, which again has some very long shoots on it. So I'm going to prune them back to here. This vertical one here, I don't think I want it at all because I have a better flowing branch front and back here. So I'm going to take that vertical one off entirely, like that. And then I've got this one coming off to the side here. I've got some sub-branching already, so I'll take it off right back here. So here I go, like that. I can take the tip off here. Now I've got one growing straight up from this branch here, which I don't like. So I'm going to take the tip off that one, like that. So that gets that tree a lot more compact at the front. I've still got some work to go on it. There's a branch coming from the back, and you can see this one that kind of crisscrosses back into the design. I'm going to take that off completely, because I have a nicer branch coming out this way. There's one kind of growing again in towards the tree at the back here. I'm going to take it off really short and see what happens in that area. I'm hoping I get something developing out front here, but I may not. You never know. So then I've got kind of a cluster of branches on top of this trunk line here. So I need to sort those out. This branch is actually in a nice direction. There's nothing growing in this area below, so I'll keep that. I'll just shorten it back to here, like that. Now I've got, so I have that one coming out here, and I've got another one at the back which grows directly over top of this other branch. So I don't want that one, so I'm going to take it off completely. Like that. That's gone. I've got one coming out the front that's going directly towards this branch. I don't think I want that one either. So I'm going to take that one completely off. There's too many branches growing in that one area, so I've got to simplify it. So now I like these two branches, but there's still a third one back here that grows directly over top of another branch behind. So I'm going to remove that one. Like that. I think I'm going to take this one off even shorter to here. Now, there's one here. I can just take the tip off like that. So I get some sub-branching there, some division. Out the back here, I've got a branch, this one here, and this branch comes straight up, which isn't the worst in the world. I'll prune it back short for now. And then I've got one coming off to the side, which is nice. I'll prune that one off short, like that. There's a third one back here that grows in towards this branch. I'm going to remove that one completely. Clean it up. So that gets that area cleaned up. Now there's a big branch out the back here that has 1, 2, 3, 4 strong shoots on it. Actually 5 if you include the one coming straight forward. So I don't want this one coming straight forward because it goes straight towards this branch, and you can see they're interfering already. So I'm going to take that one off completely, like that. Now I haven't removed it completely. There's still a bit of a stub there. I'll prune this one back short. This is a nice branch, this one. So I'll just prune it off shorter. This one's reasonable. I'll take that one off. There's one growing in towards the center of the tree, so I'm going to remove that one like that. And I think I've got to remove the remains of this one, make it a cleaner cut like that. That's looking better. Now I've got several branches growing in this area. I'll reduce this one back for starters. I may not keep it, but we'll see. Reduce this one back like that, and then I've got to come out to the back view here and see what's going on here. There's a lot of branches coming from one area. I'm going to take this one that's kind of cascading down off here. It's kind of coming off the other branch. I've got another branch kind of growing in here which isn't flowing very nicely, so I'm going to remove that one like that. And there's still one kind of growing in towards the center of the tree here, so I'll take that little one off. That's cleaned up this area. This one I still have 3, maybe 4 branches coming out from one spot. I'm going to take off this little thin one here, keeping my thicker one. There's one growing in towards the tree. I'll remove that. There's one growing a branch down here, which I don't want these two branches crisscrossing, so I'm going to take that one off like that. And I'm thinking I've got a branch here, horizontal one, and one here. Maybe I don't need this vertical one, so I'll take that out. I'll keep my more horizontal ones. That'll keep the canopy a little more compact, so the tree doesn't look so tall and spreading. And I may want to do the same here. this one's kind of tall, and I have a branch off here, so I can prune it back to here. And I will, like that. Now I've got kind of a cluster of branches coming off here. I pruned that one back. I haven't touched this one. I think I'll just take the tip off. Encourage some branching. There's from back here, I've got a branch kind of growing in towards the center of the tree. I'll take that one out. I'll keep my other two. Now the only other branches I have are growing kind of in. Let me just clean out a branch here. Oh, that is growing in there. I've got a cluster of branches growing down low on the tree here. I've got to decide if I need any of them, if I want to keep them. From the front view, I could maybe keep the one that's growing in between these two trunk lines, but this one definitely has to go. Like that. I'll just clean it up here, like that. There's one growing out here, which may be okay, but the other one crosses in towards the center of the tree, so I'm going to get rid of that one. Like that. I'm getting rid of that. I'll cut this one here, just shorten it, keeping that branch, but just shortening that one on the inside. And then I'm going to leave that one. I think that's good. So I think that's got the main tree pruned up now. So once this starts filling in again, it should look quite nice, I think. It won't look quite so bare. Have a bit of shape to the canopy. I'll just take this tip off here too. Like that. Okay, so using the same principles, I'll prune up all the other trees and we'll come back and see what the forest looks like. Here's a look at all the foliage I took off. Quite a bit, considering, you know, it was just hard pruned a month and a half ago. So let's go have a look at the forest now. Here's a look at the forest now, all pruned up. I'll rotate it around so you can see it from all angles. So this is the front view. Coming around to the right-hand side. The back. The left-hand side. And back to the front. I'm going to do the experimental work on the trunk of the tree now, on the bark, putting those scars in it and seeing how they heal. I'll rotate the forest around to the back and I'll work on this section of the main tree. I've got my sharp scissors, so I'm going to come in here and I'm going to score some vertical lines in the trunk at the back here. Yeah, so here I go. Kind of an experiment. We'll see what happens. Pretend these are elephant tusks. So I'm kind of scratching along the trunk line of the tree. I'll kind of go down the trunk here. Trying to just imitate those elephant tusks. You can see how it gets kind of juicy around the cut points, and that's what the elephants would drink. On a baobab anyway. On a Portulacaria afra, they just eat it. They come in and they munch all the leaves off it and just leave kind of stumps, and then the stumps regrow branches in nature. So they get hard pruned in nature, these Portulacaria afras. So that's why you know you can hard prune them as bonsai. I'll just move this rock so you can get a better view of the trunk there. So see how I'm cutting through this. There's a distinct ring here, so I'm just kind of scoring through it. So some of the cuts are quite wide, some are narrow. It'll give me a good idea of what's working well. Okay, I think that's enough. Enough for the experiment anyway. Okay, that is it. Okay, so we will come back in, well, I don't know how long it'll take. A certain period of time when I start to see results, and we'll update the trees and see how they're doing. There's a close-up of the trunk, just sort of the before. So when I do another video, we can compare this shot with how it heals. I'll place my stone back in the planting. I can see some roots growing underneath the stone. So just place it back in the spot. Rotate it back to the front and we'll have a final look at the Portulacaria afra forest. Here's a final look at the forest. So when I do the updates on the trunk scarring, we'll also update the forest and you can see how much it's filled in. Let's go now to today's updates. In the last video, Martin and I assembled the frame of the greenhouse. So now when I walk back to the bonsai area here, there's a building here. It's not completed, but here's the first look at it in the sunlight. Looks awesome. It's going to be so nice to have this greenhouse here. It's a beautiful day today, just amazing. Here's another view of the greenhouse. So that's my first update today. My greenhouse. I'll continue working on it tomorrow. And then on Saturday, I'm going to see Zin. The first plant update today is my gardenia. It continues to flower. It has flowered ever since I got it. There's always these fragrant flowers out on it, and there's lots more flower buds forming. So I think it'll be flowering for many weeks to go. I'll show you an update to my little giant sequoias. So they just keep looking better and better and stronger as the year progresses. So this is their first year from seeds and they're looking magnificent. I really like them. Here's a look at that jade cutting I got from Joey. It's looking really good, really filling out up top, looking nice and healthy. Over the winter, I may reduce the height of it, maybe down to more of this level where there's a branch down here, just so it's not so tall and skinny looking, so it looks more powerful. The Natal ficus that's destined for my bonsai pot that I made at Isabella's is really getting a nice crown on it. It continues to fill out better and better. Great trees for bonsai. In spring, I repotted my very first bonsai that I grew from seed 29 years ago, my Ficus microcarpa, and Stefan sent me this 3D printed pot, and I thought the pot's larger than the one it was in, and I thought, oh, this tree's just going to explode in growth. That was my prediction, and now you can see that's a reality, that the canopy is really filled in. Now, it still has a lot of refinement to go, this tree, but I was really happy with the growth of it this summer. I couldn't ask for better. It's starting to look like a mature ficus tree, which is really cool. I don't know if I ever showed you, but I got this purple smoke bush this summer. It was on sale for $10. And the reason I got it, there's one in the neighborhood that has a trunk on it that has really cool bark. And that inspired me to create a bonsai version of that tree. So I got a purple smoke bush, and this spring we'll be repotting it and starting its journey towards a bonsai. So right now it's just nursery stock, and I've got to overwinter it before I do any work on it. If you remember, 2 years ago, Leszek brought me these Douglas firs from out west, and I just got news he's visiting once again to the bonsai zone. So that'll be awesome to see him again and give him a tour of the bonsai area, and you can see the new greenhouse. My asparagus fern has filled in on this side here, which had no branches before, so it's looking really nice. I'll be pruning this once it comes indoors for the winter. I'll prune it up, give it a tree-like form. So that should look pretty good, I think. So that is all for today. I'm Nigel Saunders. Thanks for joining me in the Bonsai Zone.